dear brothers and sisters. Welcome. Great to have you again here with me in the space. It's amazing to share this time and space with you. Um, Thank you so much for all of your likes, shares, and subscribes, and thank you for your comments. There's a lot of movement that I'm feeling from your comments, sharing it with me, moving me towards putting new content up there and out there. Thank you so much for that. I'm trying to answer as many comments as I can, or at least to like them. Doing my best. If I didn't like your comment or comment on your comment, please have an understanding. I'm just but a one person dealing with life in the most beautiful way that I can, much like you. So first of all, thank you for your comments. It is moving us together into more and more understanding of what is and what we want to achieve. So this video today is going to be answering a comment or a question about sentient beings outside this 3D realm. Other life forms or other life possibilities outside that reality that we know that we call Earth or the 3D. And I will share with you some concepts about it. We will go into speak a lot actually about fear, and we will do some kind of a meditation or maybe a chanting. I will see what comes up. I would like to give you a tool to move and to transcend whatever it is that is holding us either in place or even trying to pull us back. A reason why I'm even mentioning is because it's, as I said, fear related, and we are determining constantly our reality from these two powerful forces, fear and love, minus and plus, what I want to attract to me and what I want to reject. And it is me in the center, it is the sentient being, it is you. We are the center of our reality, and therefore we engage with that. And whatever engagement that we do, either if it's from a minus or from a plus, either if it's attraction or rejection, we are engaging with the reality that we perceive as outside of ourselves, therefore giving it energy, playing with it, immersing our life source with that, and therefore confirming it, giving it that ability to continue on being alive. I'll touch into it again soon. And then I would, in the end of this video, I would share with you some announcement. Really excited about all of that. So let's dive now deeper into this. It's interesting, first of all, that this question came just recently after Halloween. So I don't see it as, I see it actually as very much related to the time that we are at. And it doesn't matter if you're on a southern hemisphere or the northern hemisphere. This is the time where the veil, what we call the veil, it is actually just reality and the component that holds reality intact, due to the changing of the seasons and due to the changing of night and day, of the transformation of Earth, actually, the movement of the polars and of the tilting of Earth, how Earth is tilted. Through that, we are experiencing less of a resistance, let's say, because there needs to be a transition, and transition will go through. There's less of a resistance between the realities, or between the components that hold the reality. Think about it first like that, the components that hold this reality intact. So when we are speaking about other life beings, and you know, it might be an alien, it might be a werewolf, a vampire, all of those things that we see in movies or we hear hearsays about, and very few of us really experience them, even if it's just about a ghost, right? However, there must be a real component to them, for they are gaining momentum. It's not only that they are out there, that we hear stories about it, that stories are existing about them, and we might even know a person that feels like he or she had that encounter. It's gaining momentum. It's becoming more and more part of the mass consciousness of what everybody knows of. And that is again giving it power. It makes it real. So there's no denying that, and there's no reason to deny that. The beauty of it is that a lot of it is surrounded by fear. I say it's a beauty. Um, there's something beautiful about fear. Why? But let's ask ourselves first this question: why is there so much fear around Halloween, around aliens, around ghosts, around werewolves, all of that? The reason is because there is lack of information. There is lack of information, simply as that. The mind, what the mind cannot perceive and cannot understand, it holds as alien. Even the word alien means stranger. This is stranger to my body. I don't know it, and therefore it might harm me. Why? Because there is a component of change in it. If I cannot identify myself with that, then there is a feeling of separation between the two of us. And it means that there is a chance, a good chance that this picture, this thing, this sentient being, the reflection that I'm getting is not what I'm used to, is not what I'm seeing when I'm looking at my mirror every day. It's not what I know of, and therefore it has the power to change me. It has the power to change me. This is why people are afraid so much of change. They fear change. That's actually one of the biggest fears, and we see it a lot right now happening, especially with structure, with communities and governments, and even with the monetary way of life, money, finance. Change is in the core of things. Change is the most stable thing that you can rely on. And Mother Earth, Pachamama, shows us this constantly, that there is change. The beauty of the change that Pachamama is reflecting back to us is that change is not linear. It's a circle. It's expanding exponentially. There is evolvement and evolution happening throughout the history of time. Yet it happens in cycle, right? Like the season. There is something that is returning. It's returning and expanding, returning and changing, returning and being more, returning and developing. So this is actually when we really choose to understand that this is how life is continuing and expanding. We understand that change is in the core of things, but the change is not linear. It's not like whatever was is completely gone. It continues circling us until it loses energy, or until we stop putting energy in it, because we can completely release that, and then it just drops away. Much like certain animals, species are not here anymore on this earth, in this reality. Which brings us again to the topic of reality. So what we call the 3D reality, people say it's an illusion. It's definitely real because we can sense it, because we can interact with it, and because we can interact through it. Why it is unreal or an illusion is because it's not the only thing. And if we choose to believe that it's continuously evolving, then it must go forward, right? It must go forward, and it must come from something. And even just saying 3D means that we already choose the number 3. So what happens with 1 and 2, and what happens with 4 and 5? So there is an evolution also to dimension. This can be very much seen in the story of creation in the Bible, the 6 days of creation, the 7th day is of rest. We can even subtract that into realities, dimensions. So when we consider the 3D dimension, we must come to the understanding and to the agreement that there's more than that. That there's not only the 3D dimension. There's a 4th dimension, a 5th dimension, there's also a second one, which is duality, and there's a first one, which is the unity. Now, we already understand that we can experience 2D in this reality, two-dimensional reality in this 3D reality, meaning that there is the polarity is pulling us towards two extremities, towards north and south pole, towards day and night, right? Masculine and feminine, plus and minuses. It's already existing here. We have an interconnection between them, which makes it a 3D. We can interact with the minus, we can interact with the plus, we can interact with both of them. That makes it 3D. It's not only one or the other, it's both, and it's sometimes nothing. And when it's nothing, we are moving into the 4D. The 4D is also experienced here right now. When we look at Mother Earth, there is the 4D. There are the 4 seasons, there are the 4 elements, right? The structure, which is the cube, has the 4 sides to it. So we can experience right now here on Earth, through the 3D reality, we can subtract ourselves and understand the concept and even experience the concept of 2D, as well as moving forward towards the 4D concept and experience it in this reality. Meaning, when we think on conceptualize other realities, other dimensions, we do not need to leave Earth in order to do that. We do not need to leave Earth in order to experience that. This is interesting. At least not completely with our physical body. There's something of us that is staying anchored here in this reality, and there's another part of us that can experience different realities. Now you ask also, if you could, the ant or the fly, what are your realities? It wouldn't answer with, this is a 3D reality. What insects are experiencing in this reality is very, very different than what we are experiencing. So, sentient beings of life are existing here on Earth that are experiencing different realities. Look as well at very special gifted people, or people with autism, for example. Their understanding of reality is again very different than ours, than the, so to say, normal, common person. And they exist here on Earth and we can interact with them. Think about a baby, a fetus that is in the belly. In the belly, there is no reality as we know it here outside. Sound travels differently in the belly because it's surrounded with water. It's a space surrounded with water completely. There is no light. There are no extreme differences between cold and warm. There is no sense of space up and down. So there's a very different reality, a whole different dimension when the fetus is in the belly of the mummy. And we can see it, we can even interact with it, we can even touch it from the outside, we can talk to it, sing to it, which I recommend to you guys. I am started a process of writing a book about my experience, my new experiences as a father. It's called Ready Daddy. It's going to be available for you. I'm going to put the link down there for you guys to engage with that book. You can already engage with it now. And as well as there is a beautiful presentation that I've made about the last 2 natural births that we gave to Ruviam and to Rei, and with the beautiful experience we made over there. And this presentation is also accessible for you guys. I'll put the link down there too. Check that link down in the comments or in the description. Sorry, I will put it in the description. All right, going back to the having different realities right here and right now, and going again to that component of what I don't understand, what is hard for me to grasp. There's an automatic sense of fear with it. By the way, this is non-existent for children, right? Children, when they are coming to this earth, we don't sense in them the component of fear. Everything is new, and they are engaging with this new thing to acceptance, playfulness, and trust. When they start to feel fear is when we, the parents, bestow this on them. We give it to them. Actually, we hand it to them because we are afraid. We want to protect them, and then they mimic that. They feel that energy and they mimic that because they learn from us how to deal with this reality. So when it comes to sentient beings outside this reality, again, they might not be outside this reality. They could be right here and right now. The question is, are you acknowledging them? Do you even want to acknowledge them? That's another thing. Because fear, as long as there's fear, fear is like a membrane. It filters the experience with the reality. It's a sanction. It pulls down the energy field. It protects the body and mostly the emotional space. And it confines the experience. It doesn't allow so much that is truly want to interact with us and integrate in us. It doesn't let it in. It's a wall, a protective wall. So when this is there, we will not be able to fully acknowledge and experience those sentient beings because there's a fearful field around us when it comes to that concept and to that subject. That goes for aliens too. And that goes even to the question of what would other sentient being want from us? Now, if they would like to communicate with us, learn from us, be part of this reality, otherwise why would they even bother themselves with us or with this reality? If they want to communicate and connect, then they need a participant on the other side. Now, going back again to the ant or the fly, as human beings, we cannot communicate with those entities, with those sentient beings. We need to move into a very typical sense of awareness, point of perception, in order to communicate with them. And they, therefore, cannot communicate back with us because there is a blockage there of communication. It sounds very simple, right? So, if we are after communication, if we want to integrate and interact, again, integrate and interact with other beings, then we need to open ourselves to that and allow that in our reality. That's the mind brain holding the realities disconnected. Therefore, going back again to Halloween, where the realities or the veil between the realities, the components are not holding themselves that strong because of the changes, allowing more things to filter and to go through the realities. This is why there's so much fear around that. This is why we speak about things outside of this reality during the time of Halloween. Because there's finally a communication being enabled through that mind brain that is not working very well, you could say, or that is not holding itself intact during this period of time. Now you can continue staying in that state of mind, allowing true acceptance. But then again, it means that we need to overcome fear, right? None of us would really, really want to go through an experience that is bathes and indulges in fear. Which means, what's the point of engaging with a werewolf or with an alien or with anything if they bring fear to me? So let's make that conscious choice. If I do want to interact with sentient beings outside my reality, if I want to invite those into my reality for whatever reason, I rather first encounter my fear and transform it into love, into acceptance. Now, Conscious Creations have created for you guys two mini-series, two sets of videos, components. One of them is called Transforming Fear, and the other one is called the Happiness Series. The both are interconnected. The both are available on Vimeo. I will leave the link over there in the description box as well for you guys to check it out. And this is something that I've worked on for several months, and then me and my team worked on packing it in a beautiful video way with video interactions. And the concept of it is moving beyond fear, acknowledging fear, seeing where it comes from, transforming it, and then understanding also what happiness is all about and utilizing it in my life more and more, bringing that joy. So check out those. At the current time, we are working, and that's the announcement, we are working on putting Spanish subtitles to those series. So if you trust yourself with English, and I hope you do, and I hope you make the effort to learn more English, it's the currency of the world, much like Bitcoin. Move towards trust yourself and check those out in English. If you still don't trust yourself in that, you need more time, we are working on providing Spanish subtitles to that. Thank you guys very much for this video, for interacting with me, for checking this video. Please make sure that you like this video. If you want to share it, it would be a blessing too. Let's bring this out forward. Let's connect with more people and let's stay connected. I really enjoy your comments. They invite me to make more content and materials. So looking forward for your next comments. Thank you so much.